She said she was going to bed early. That was at 9:42 p.m. At 11:03, I heard the back door click shut. I don't know what made me check the trash can outside. Maybe I just needed air. Maybe I wanted to prove to myself that I was paranoid, like she always said. Inside the bin, wedged between two coffee pods and a crumpled napkin, was a receipt. Just a stupid little thermal paper strip from a gas station 2 towns over. It was time-stamped 10:38 p.m. She wasn't home. Her car wasn't gone. I stood there like an idiot, holding garbage, my fingers going numb from the cold metal lid. When she came back in, makeup wiped, hoodie on, I asked calmly, "You go out?" She looked at me like I had disappeared, like I wasn't standing there in the kitchen with a scrap of paper in my hand and my soul halfway torn. "You're being weird," she said. "Go to bed." I should have screamed. I should have begged. But instead, I nodded, like a child being scolded. And I watched her walk past me, barefoot, into the hallway, like nothing had happened. That was 2 nights before my birthday. And I still haven't told her I found the second phone. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling fan, watching it spin like a slow interrogation light. She slept beside me, or pretended to. Her breathing was too even, too rehearsed. Maybe I'm imagining that part. I don't know. You start second-guessing everything when the ground underneath your life begins to shift. At 3:17 a.m., I heard it. A buzz. Muffled. Brief. She had flipped her phone screen down hours ago, like always. But this wasn't that one. This came from the closet. Her old purse. The one she swore she hadn't used in months. I waited. Didn't move. Just listened. Another buzz. Then silence. When her breath shifted, that tiny change in rhythm that tells you someone's now watching you in the dark, I turned toward the wall and closed my eyes. In the morning, she acted like she had somewhere to be. She made a show of rushing. Lip balm, hair tie, half-eaten toast. I asked if I could come with her. She laughed. "Why?" "It's just errands," she said. "You'll be bored." I told her I didn't mind. I told her I just wanted to spend time together. Her jaw tightened. "You're being clingy," she muttered. Clingy. That word stuck in my ribs like a rusted nail. Clingy. For wanting to be near my wife on the week of my birthday. Clingy for asking why she was vanishing in pieces. She left with half a goodbye. I didn't follow. I went straight to the closet, dug through the old purse. And there it was, the second phone. Locked, of course. But the wallpaper was a photo I didn't recognize. A hotel hallway. Dim, empty. Number on the door blurred. But here's the thing. She had no reason to be in a hotel last Tuesday. She told me she was at her sister's. And I remember because she sent me a photo of the two of them, smiling, wrapped in a blanket. Only now I can see the same blanket in the background of the hotel picture. And only one glass of wine on the table. I stared at that hotel hallway photo for a long time. It was just blurry enough to be deniable. No names. No faces. But I couldn't stop looking at it. Every detail whispering something I wasn't quite ready to hear. The wall art. The gray carpet. The one wine glass. She always said I was paranoid, that I read into things. But how do you not read into a photo of your wife's supposed girls' night that shows her alone in a hotel she never told you about? Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I copied the photo to a USB and hid the second phone back in the purse exactly how I found it. Same angle. Same strap over the screen. I even took a picture before I moved anything, just in case. That night, I asked her about her sister. She lied effortlessly, said they made popcorn, watched some terrible Netflix rom-com, laughed until they cried. She even named the movie, something I'd never heard of. I nodded along and tried not to show the shake in my hands. "Did you take any pictures?" I asked casually, cutting my food too slow. She blinked, hesitated, then shook her head. "No, not really. We looked terrible," she said. But I already had a photo. She had sent it to me that night. Them in that blanket, smiling. She forgot, or didn't care enough to keep the story straight. I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the edge of the tub until my breathing calmed down. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I messaged her sister. Just one line. "Hey, what movie did you two watch last Tuesday?" I waited. And waited. An hour passed. 2. Then finally a reply. "Huh? I was out of town for a work thing." Why? No emoji. No follow-up. Just that. It was like my stomach turned inside out. I didn't respond. I just stared at the screen, waiting for something, an edit, a JK. Anything that would undo what I now knew. But nothing came. So I opened my browser and started scrolling through local hotel websites. There were over 40 within a 30-minute drive. I clicked through them one by one. I wasn't looking for a name. I was looking for that carpet, that artwork, that room number font. And after almost 3 hours, I found it. Room 217. Second floor. The Ivy Crest Inn. About a 23-minute drive from our house. Known for discreet service. She never mentioned it once in 5 years of marriage. I stared at the booking form. No login. No account required. Just a name. Dates. So I typed hers in. And what came up made my hands go cold. She had been there 4 times in the last 2 months. Once the day after she said she was working late. Once the weekend she said she was visiting her mom. And once, God help me, on our anniversary. The Ivy Crest Inn had no lobby, just a keypad gate and a small office with tinted windows. When I drove past it the first time, I wasn't sure what I expected to feel. Rage, maybe. But what I actually felt was small. Like a child peeking into something meant for adults. Something shameful. I parked across the street and waited, windows fogging slightly from my breath. I had a thermos of coffee, a pair of binoculars I borrowed from the garage without thinking about how ridiculous that was, and a printed copy of her booking records in the glove box like some kind of evidence dossier. That Saturday, she said she was meeting her friend Lily for brunch and probably shopping after. She even wore that loose-knit sweater she claims makes her look approachable but not trying too hard. It used to be my favorite. Now it just made my skin crawl. She left the house around 10:12 a.m. I left at 10:17. At 10:46, I watched her black hatchback pull into the gravel parking lot behind the Ivy Crest. She didn't hesitate, didn't text, just parked and got out. And then she smiled. Not the smile she gives me when she wants something. Not the polite one she uses in photos. This was full, relaxed, almost playful. Then he stepped out of another car, and my heart nearly stopped. Because for a split second, I thought it was me. Same height, same build, short dark hair, a beard that was trimmed the way I used to keep mine before she said it made me look tired. He wore jeans and a plain jacket, nothing flashy. They hugged, but not like strangers. Like a rewinded memory. Like a language I once spoke fluently, but forgot after years of being corrected. She tucked her hair behind her ear. She only does that when she's nervous. He said something that made her laugh. Then they both disappeared behind room 217's door like it was a routine. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, sweating through my shirt, while the thermos steamed beside me, untouched. I think what scared me most was how normal it looked. Like she had done this before. Many times. With no guilt. Like this wasn't some whirlwind affair she fell into, but a plan. I waited 37 minutes. Then 45. Then over an hour. I imagined myself walking across that parking lot, pounding on the door, yelling, demanding. But what would I even say? She'd deny it. Cry. Spin it into something I misunderstood. And I'd probably fall for it. Again. So I waited until they left. They didn't hold hands. Didn't kiss. But he opened the car door for her. And she touched his shoulder as she got in. A small touch. A habit. She'd never done that for me. That night, she brought home takeout. Thai food. My favorite. She sat across from me at the table and asked about my day. Smiled when I told her I didn't do much. Her phone never left her bag. She never mentioned Lily. And I just kept nodding like a fool, tasting nothing, swallowing lies with every bite. By the next morning, something inside me had shifted. Not snapped. Not yet, but tilted. Like when you notice a picture framed slightly off-center, and suddenly you can't focus on anything else in the room. I couldn't pretend anymore. Not silently. I didn't want to scream or accuse. I wanted her to reveal herself. I wanted to see if she'd still lie when the evidence was right in front of her face. So I left the second phone on the kitchen counter. Not thrown. Not displayed. Just placed. Calmly. Right beside the fruit bowl. Unlocked. With the screen black. I knew she'd recognize it. That cheap case with the cracked corner? She bought it. For herself. 2 months ago. Told me it was for a work thing. Then I went outside and watered the plants. We don't even have many. 2 sad little succulents and a dying basil sprig, but I spent 20 minutes gently drizzling water on dry soil, just so I wouldn't have to see her find it. And she did. I heard the pause. The silence when something unnatural enters the scene. The kind of silence that swells with static and panic. Then came the creak of the drawer. The junk drawer where we keep dead batteries, dried pens, And that one charger no one dares throw away. She placed the phone inside and slid it shut. When I came back in, she was sipping coffee. Calm. Smiling. I stared at the drawer. She followed my gaze. And then, like it was nothing, she said, "Oh, by the way, Lily texted me. She wants to go hiking next weekend. You cool with that?" I nodded. My tongue felt like sandpaper. She had lied. Again. Boldly. Smoothly. She hadn't just ignored the phone. She erased it. Hid it like it was my secret to keep. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. Instead, I sat on the bathroom floor with her old phone in my hand and a burner laptop balanced on my knees. I'd installed recovery software. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Texts. Photos. A name. At 3:42 a.m., I found something. A note. Not a text. Not an email. A draft. In her notes app. It was written like a letter, though it hadn't been sent. If he ever finds out, I'll tell him I was lonely. That it was just a phase. That I still love him. But you and I both know I checked out long before it started. It wasn't about the man. It was about feeling watched. Noticed. I'll miss the way you looked at me like I was dangerous. I read it 5 times. She had written the excuse in advance. Pre-written her defense. Prepared for my pain before I even realized I was in it. At dawn, I went into the bedroom. She was asleep, curled up tight, mouth slightly open. Peaceful. Like someone who has no idea the other person is starting to become a stranger. I stood over her. Not angry. Not sad. Just hollow. Then I whispered something I hadn't said in years. "I hope you never need me the way I needed you." She didn't stir, but I like to think something inside her heard it. I told her I'd be gone for 2 days. My boss had asked me to help with a regional meeting, I said. Something about logistics and late-night prep. A hotel stay was required. Nothing exciting. She didn't ask for details. Didn't ask what hotel, which city, when I'd be back. Just said, "You packed snacks, right?" and went back to scrolling on her phone. I didn't pack anything. I didn't leave town. I checked into a short-term rental 3 blocks away. An old upstairs unit with creaky floors and dusty blinds. The kind of place people rent when they want to disappear without going far. I left the lights off. Slept on the floor the first night. Couldn't eat. Couldn't focus. Just kept refreshing the home security cam feed I'd set up the week before. The one hidden inside the little bookshelf speaker in the corner of our living room. It was motion-triggered. Silent. She didn't know it was there. For the first 12 hours, nothing happened. She watched TV. Ordered ramen. Fed the cat. Typical. I started doubting myself. Maybe she really had stopped. Maybe what I saw at the motel was a goodbye. Maybe that letter in her notes was therapy, not planning. But then, at 2:13 a.m., the feed activated. She was in the kitchen, whispering. I couldn't hear the words. There was no audio, but I saw the phone pressed to her ear, her lips moving fast, one hand tucked into her sweatshirt sleeve like she always did when she was excited. Or nervous. Then she walked into the hallway, out of frame. The feed cut off. At 2:21 a.m., the camera activated again. She was in the living room now, lighting a candle. The same one she gave me for my birthday, the one I thought was meant for me. The irony twisted in my stomach like a knife. Then she changed clothes. Not into something scandalous. No, into his hoodie. The same one I'd seen him wear in the Ivy Crest parking lot. Green. Oversized. She took it from the back of the hall closet. I saw her pull it from the vacuum-sealed bag we used for winter stuff. She curled up on the couch wearing it. Hugged herself. Stared into the candlelight like it meant something. No one came over. No calls after that. But I couldn't stop watching. She fell asleep in that hoodie. On my couch. In our home. The next morning, I walked back in like nothing had happened. I had a coffee in my hand and a fake hotel key card in my pocket just in case she noticed. She didn't look up from her cereal. "You look tired," she said. I just smiled. Later, I went into the hallway and opened the closet. The vacuum-sealed bag was unzipped. The green hoodie was gone. She hadn't put it back. She'd kept it out. Like it belonged. Like he did. I didn't plan to talk to Audrey. She was Ren's closest friend. The kind you see in old photos with braces and matching Halloween costumes. They still met up for brunch now and then, though less often lately. Ren always said she was too married now for that kind of drama. But Audrey was the only one left who might know more than I did. I didn't text her. I waited. 2 days. 3. Then I bumped into her by accident at the Saturday market. I knew she'd be there. Ren had mentioned it in passing. I remembered everything now. Every breadcrumb. Audrey smiled politely when she saw me, but it was the kind of smile that didn't reach her eyes. We made small talk about overpriced tomatoes and the weather. Then I asked, "How's Rin been lately?" She blinked. A pause. Too long. "Good, I think," she said. "Busy." That was it. Just busy. I looked at her and didn't say a word. Just waited. Something in that silence cracked her. "She doesn't know I know," Audrey said, too fast. Her voice dropped. "But I do. And I've wanted to tell you for weeks." We left the market and walked to her car. She didn't let me speak. Didn't let me ask. She just started talking like it had been bottled up for too long. I thought it was just a flirt. A phase. I told myself it was harmless. But then she started making lists. "Lists?" I asked. She nodded. Things she wanted to say to you. Things she'd need to pack. Things she'd miss but could live without. I only saw one of them. It was on her notes app. I pretended I didn't notice, but I memorized a line. She took out her phone and typed. Then she handed it to me. "Don't forget. Change bank passwords. Return his grandmother's necklace. Leave the blanket." I felt the blood drain from my face. She was planning to leave me. I said quietly. "No," Audrey replied. She was planning to vanish. No fight. No confrontation. Just gone. She wanted to leave kindly, as she put it. Her exact words. She thought disappearing would cause less pain than divorce. Was she planning to go with him? I asked. Audrey's face shifted. "What?" "The guy," I said. "The one from the hotel. Ivy Crest." Her expression was blank for a moment. Then she whispered, "There is no guy." My ears started ringing. I told her about the hotel. The photos. The parking lot. The hoodie. The camera. The man who looked like me. Everything. Audrey stared at me like I'd just described a dream. "That doesn't make sense," she said slowly. She told me she was doing this alone. That it wasn't about someone else. She even showed me the keys she bought for the studio apartment downtown. Just her. "She was with someone," I said. "I saw them together. Hugging. Smiling. Room 217. Audrey shook her head. "She was alone that day. I called her, remember? She was crying. She said she couldn't go through with it. That she felt like she was living a double life." Then it clicked. The man. His build. The way he dressed. The way he moved. The beard. The green hoodie. I felt cold all over. Because the man she was meeting wasn't someone else. It was someone she had asked to play a part. Someone I hadn't met. But someone Audrey had. A professional. A role player. Audrey didn't say the word. She just stared at me with that wide-eyed guilt. The kind people wear when they know they've told you something irreversible. Something you can't unhear. I sat on the curb beside her car, the wind stinging my ears, and tried to process it. A role player. A professional. A paid companion who resembled me. On purpose. She said it helped her feel brave, Audrey said softly. She told me she couldn't talk to you yet. So she talked to him. She picked someone who looked like you because she wanted to practice. Pretend. She said she didn't want to hurt you. She just didn't want to vanish without knowing why she needed to go. That should have shattered me. But weirdly, it didn't. Because something about it, that surreal, sad detail, made everything finally make sense. The careful lies. The emotional distance. The hug that didn't look like passion, but familiarity. The wine glass. The notes app. She wasn't planning an affair. She was rehearsing a disappearance. And somewhere along the way, she changed her mind. When I got home that night, she was curled up in bed, clutching the same green hoodie. Not wearing it. Just holding it like something delicate, something unresolved. I didn't say anything. I just sat on the edge of the bed. She stirred. When she saw me, really saw me, her face cracked. She didn't speak, just leaned into my shoulder and let out the kind of cry that doesn't make noise at first. And then she told me everything. That she hadn't felt like herself in 2 years. That our life, quiet, predictable, loving in its own dull rhythm, had started to feel like a play she didn't audition for. That the man at the motel wasn't real, not to her. He was just a mirror, a rehearsal, a way to say the words she couldn't say to me without destroying us. But she hadn't gone through with it. Because the last time she saw him, she told him, "I think I want to stay." We talked all night. No yelling. No blame. Just unraveling. We threw the green hoodie away together. A week later, we sat across from a therapist for the first time. There were a lot of silences. A lot of shame. But also laughter. The kind that breaks tension like a window cracking just enough to let air in. We're not fixed. We're not perfect. But we're honest now. And on my next birthday, She didn't buy me a candle. She bought 2 plane tickets and wrote on the envelope, "Let's leave the old version of us behind. Together this time." And for the first time in years, I said yes without hesitation.